Hey
That gets
guys,
my juices going.
hey, what was that?
That gets my juices going.
Doesn't it?
It gets you amped. It gets you amped. It gets me amped enough to say, ladies and gentlemen, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you guys are watching this, and also whenever you guys are listening to this. Because not only are we on YouTube, but we also started the podcast for the Nxt Up Fantasy Show, and we are now in episode. I'm gonna say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We're at episode 9 today. Before we go ahead and move on, I personally want to apologize for not coming on for the past couple of weeks. Believe it or not, myself, Manny, and Mike, believe it or not, we're human. And because of the fact that we're human, we have things outside of the podcast and outside of the brand of Nxt Up Fantasy that we got going on in our lives. And sometimes we try our best to do this every single week, but there are occasions where we just can't do it. So on behalf of Nxt Up Fantasy, I personally apologize to each and every one of the listeners, to each and every one of the watchers. And if you still decide to pretty much ride with us, we truly, truly, truly appreciate it. And simply put, if you guys do continue to ride with us, like first things first, like, subscribe, and turn on the notifications so you know when we have these new episodes each and every week. As well, follow us on Instagram, Nxt Up Fantasy, NXT UP Fantasy. And I think that's enough of all of that advertisement. So moving on, as you guys have already listened to, I'm Will. And let's go ahead and introduce the remainder of the crew. One of them is muted, so I'm not going to go to him first. So I'm going to go ahead and go to Manny first. So Manny, how are you doing today?
I'm good. It's 11 o'clock Eastern time, and I just chugged a Red Bull, so I'm ready to go on a Thursday night. So let's get it. We have the Thursday night game in the background. Looks like Mike Evans just dropped the ball. But let's go. I'm doing really horrible in fantasy, but I don't know what's going on. My takes have been going well, but fantasy-wise, I'm not scoring enough points.
We are going to do what we possibly can to probably change that. I'm not going to ask about how the team is going, but inside my mind, I am asking how the team is going. Along with myself and Manny is Mike Thesis.
The great Mike Thesis. Get it straight. The great cowboy.
I'm not 100%
respecting his name.
Not 100% sure about his squad as far as his favorite team, as far as where his favorite players are, so forth, so forth. I'm just going to give everyone a wild guess to those watching on YouTube. So that being said, Mr. Mike, how's everything going?
Hey, it's going great, man. I missed you guys. It's been 2 weeks, and I miss doing this. It's a lot of fun. So yeah, ready to get at it. I've had a good 2 weeks, but it's a lot better now than with my guys again, and really looking forward to getting into some of this content and telling you guys what you can do to improve your fantasy squads, because the season's not over yet. Even if you've had a bad start, like Manny, no offense, you can still turn it around. You can still turn it around this time.
And believe it or not, those are 100% facts. It's been done. It's been a couple of weeks, so let's go ahead and try to jump back into it. We're all going to be a little bit rusty, so we're going to do the best we can to pretty much get back on that horse. So the first horse that we're going to talk about is, since it's in Manny's background right now, let's go ahead and talk about a pair of quarterbacks that are a little bit on the trippy side right now. So both Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady are kind of on the losing side, which is something that they're pretty much not used to. Tom Brady right now playing against the Ravens, and it looks like that they're going to end up losing again today. So that will make them at 3-5. I don't recall the record for Aaron Rodgers on top of my head right now, but a lot of people are aware of everything that's going on with the Packers as far as the wideouts not being 100 the way that he wants them to be. Believe it or not, both Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon not doing that well on the running back side, and the defense, who was expected to be one of the best, is actually starting to be one of the worst in the league. So I'm going to do a either or, not either or, a one or another. I'm going to go ahead and go to Mike first. Between the two, between Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady, which one has the most to be concerned about?
Uh, that's kind of a tough question. Between the two, though, I think the one that has the most to be concerned about, in my opinion, I'm gonna probably have to say Aaron Rodgers. And the reason I say that isn't necessarily because of his skill set. I believe he's probably a more skilled player than Tom Brady. I mean, he always has been to me. And I don't think that fact has changed. But I just don't trust his offensive weapons, man. The receivers he have, I think they will be nice one day, but it's just not time. The trust isn't there. Um, they're not getting open for him. They're not, and you can tell that he doesn't trust them because he's not doing the things he would normally do, right? AJ Dillon can't seem to get it going. Aaron Jones is still okay. But yeah, due to their lack of weapons and losing Devontae Adams and just kind of losing that it factor that their offense have contained, I would probably say that I would lean towards Aaron Rodgers as being the one I would have less faith in right now.
And it's kind of a shame because there is the potential with the wideouts. Since we've for Aaron Rodgers, since we found out about Devontae Adams going out to elsewhere, we were kind of looking at who's going to be the wide receivers. That's going to be the guys that's going to pretty much take advantage of getting all those targets. And it's kind of unfortunate that, like, right now, we tried Romeo Doubs, we tried Christian Watson, and neither of those working. Robert Tonyan, decent tight end, but it's not going to be the point where he can get 14 targets a game. He's no Mark Andrews, he's no Travis Kelce, and that's kind of the same thing with the old school players that they have. That includes Sammy Watkins, who's actually been okay, so the past week or so. And same thing with Randall Cobb, and all of them are kind of just out of it when it comes to trying to help out Aaron Rodgers. So, like, my answer will probably be the same. And say Aaron Rodgers, even though Tom Brady, I believe, has the worst record out of the two. So, Manny, what's your thoughts on it?
So they both are 3-4. Just a little heads up, but I think Aaron Rodgers has it worse because of his, like you guys said, the lack of talent around him. He's came out and said the coaches need to take these guys out and rotate them if they're not going to produce. So it's weird with these guys. They're both good winning quarterbacks. I mean, I'm happy about it. I don't care. These guys won so much in my lifetime that it's time for them to start getting their taste of their own medicine, in my opinion. But Tom Brady seems like he's half retired, half playing. Same with Aaron Rodgers. He doesn't seem like he's there for a paycheck right now. But he's getting frustrated. He doesn't have his Devontae Adams or Jordy Nelson, that one receiver for him that he usually has. I thought A.J. Dillon was going to be more of like – they came out and said in the beginning of the season they want to play the best 11. Well, A.J. Dillon and Aaron Jones are part of that best 11. So I thought they were going to do more sets with both of them. They haven't done it. When they do it, they actually look decent. But I don't know. You losing to the Jets and Giants back-to-back weeks is pretty rough. So I would say Packers have it worse. Brady and the Buccaneers have a lot of injuries as well. I think this is the first time that he's had Julio, Mike Evans, and Chris Godwin all in this season. Correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, they still just lost, but I think there's a lot of injuries on the defense side as well.
You want to hear a fun fact that just got tweeted out right now?
Yeah.
With the Buccaneers now losing, they're at 3-5. The winner of the Falcons and the Panthers this weekend, because that is a game. The winner of the Falcons and the Panthers this week gets sole possession of first place in that division. So it's insane to think that the Saints, who we all were actually excited for, is kind of down in the crapper right now. Buccaneers just ended up losing, and of all teams, the Panthers, who actually had a good showing, beating said Bucks, and the Falcons, who is in every single game that they play, whether they actually win or whether they keep it close, because they always keep it close in the second half. Like, one of those two are going to be first place in their division. And I know that's a temporary thing for right now, but like it's just insane to just think that in week what are we at? Week 8, or yeah, week 8. This is where we are right now.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind
It's
of insane to think about.
Well, Jets are what, 4-2, 5-2?
Yeah, they're in that area.
That's,
So,
crazy. That's crazy, man. This year is so wild.
Giants only have 1 loss.
6-1. 6-1. My dad's a Giants fan. He reminds me of that every day. They're 6-1.
Who they lose to?
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
And we'll get that later. So the next thing that I wanted to go ahead and talk about, since we weren't here last week, is one of the teams that the Falcons actually ended up beating miserably. The 49ers ended up trading for Christian McCaffrey for a multitude of picks. And there's kind of 2 ways to actually look at all this. And one of the ways that I'll go ahead, and since I'm the house 49er fan, I'll go ahead and talk about it a little bit first. One of the first thoughts that I thought about, and I ended up writing an article about it on our Instagram. The first thing that I thought about was the Eli Mitchell situation is probably a lot worse than we're all thinking right now. And if that's the case, then if you a little bit of fantasy advice, if you do have Eli Mitchell right now, I would probably be on the brink of actually dropping him right now, because because for one, Christian McCaffrey is a true 3-down back. That's number one. Number two, if Eli actually is really injured to the extent where he's still on the IR, then there's no real reason to actually keep him right now. But I do want to say, as after watching the game this past week against the Chiefs, where we also got trounced, to actually also think about keeping Jeff Wilson. Don't drop him just yet, but it's just now to the point where don't expect him to be used as much or utilized as much as he has been for the past couple weeks. Of course, he's not the main guy anymore. He's not the main starter. He doesn't have as much upside as CMC. However, he's kind of in a decent role where, one, he's a running back that we know that can handle a bulk of carries if he needed to be in there. And two, since everyone wants to write out CMC because of his injury-prone issues, in the event that it does happen, Jeff Wilson can go in there and he could ball out. He's actually pretty good, and I would generally suggest to pretty much keep him on the bench. Don't drop him just yet. Just see how he just plays in the end. So, Manny, let's go ahead and go to you. What were your reactions the moment that you heard about the trade?
My reaction was, sorry if you're a kid, my reaction was, shit, CMC is going to get hurt now. And the reason is because everyone on the 49ers seems to be getting hurt. Debo's out right now. They can't keep a running back for like 5 straight weeks. It seems like they always get hurt. And Christian McCaffrey has, been getting hurt the last couple seasons. So that's what's I had him on a couple of my teams. So I'm like, crap. But I think it's a good trade overall. Jimmy Garoppolo, it'll be a good out for Jimmy Garoppolo to have Christian McCaffrey back there. Right. Didn't help really last week, but you're playing the Chiefs, the team that you think that was going to take last place in the AFC West, but I don't want to talk about it that much. So, but I think, I don't know, you guys play the Rams this week. It's going to be another tough game because you're at LA, even though their fans kind of suck. Debo, I'm hoping Debo plays. Christian McCaffrey, I think you guys got to steal with him.
And the only response that I could say is it is not over yet. The team could still get last place.
Wait, can I ask a question to you?
Oh, this should be fun. Go ahead.
Have they fired like their medical staff or their strength and conditioning coaches ever? Because why does the 49ers always seem like they're always getting hurt? All of them. Trey Lance, hurt. Every running back that's been back there, hurt. Debo, hurt. Brandon Ayuk, hurt. Joey Bosa, hurt. Or is it Nick Bosa? One of the Bosa brothers, hurt. George Kittle, hurt.
There's no way for me to actually answer that right now. But the only thing that I can say, it's probably the coach with all the calling or with all the play calling, which is majority runs over anything. So like if there's any, especially if you talk about Debo, everyone says, okay, so what about Debo? Okay, Debo has been doing running plays like a lot last season. So chain reaction could have been happened to what happened to right now, and he just keeps on getting hurt. He just keeps getting hurt, just like the remainder of the running backs. Either it's the play calling or the actual players could be weak.
And then I got another question. Debo hasn't practiced. Didn't practice today. I'm asking for a friend. Didn't practice today. Didn't show up.
Okay.
It's a rivalry game, a division game. You guys got a bye week next week. Is Debo playing? They can't risk to sit him, right?
They can't risk to sit him, but I legitimately wouldn't see a good reason why to actually sit him. But what they could probably do is just limit him as far as the amount of plays that he goes into. So they'll probably say that he's going to be in there and play, but the question becomes how much he's going to play. So it's kind of similar to, let's say, since we're talking about Christian McCaffrey, we'll talk about McCaffrey's debut as a Niner. He only played, I believe I read he only played like 22 snaps. So out of 22 snaps, he actually touched the ball 10 times. So if that's not a representation of what to expect with CMC moving forward, that there's likely a chance that CMC is going to be not exactly a vocal point, but like one of those where he's going to be involved a good amount. So that could create a chain reaction of everyone else around him. Let's say a Debo, let's say a Kittle, maybe even Ayuk and anybody else there, as far as like less stress as far as being used from everyone else. They're just going to put it all on CMC, and then he gets hurt. Mike, what's your thoughts?
I love the trade. I think that he's a quality player. Like I said, my issue's always been the same as Manny just brought up in a way. He just gets hurt. As long as he's healthy, he's a great running back. So I love the trade. It seems apparently like the 49ers don't care about draft picks. Like that's not their thing. Like they're all in, right? So if you're all in, I think that's a great move to make. Now you could think about the position and if it's worth it to give all that up for a running back position where you kind of, how the running back position is in the NFL. It's kind of a lesser valued position. So is it smart to give up that much capital for a running back position? However, right, if you are going to give that up for someone, you should give it up for someone like CMC who can run the ball, can catch the ball in the backfield. He seems to check all the boxes, right? So I love the trade. Unfortunately, I just don't think it really makes the team better. I think it makes them more versatile. No, I'm not going to say they suck. It makes them more versatile, and they're led by their defense. But I don't think that CMC is going to get you to a Super Bowl. Just put it.
You don't have to be nice. You're being nice because it's Will.
I grew up with this guy, but no. I love the trade, and he's a great player. But yeah, they still ain't messing with this though.
No, no one's talking about the butterfly effect about this trade though. DJ Moore scored a touchdown because all of his targets are coming to him now instead of CMC and Robbie Anderson. So you could probably buy low. This is more into the fantasy. Buy low for DJ Moore right now because he's going to get a lot of targets.
No, that's smart. And let me say one thing real quick, Will. My bad.
Yeah, we're taking over this show, Will.
I actually wanted to mention as he walks off. I actually wanted to mention that I also like the trade for the Panthers as far as if you were into the Deontay Foreman, stock.
Yeah,
right. I'm all in. Like I love Deontay Foreman. I think he's a great running back, and I think that if you're an owner of him, he can definitely, be an impactful player for you going forward. And now he'll have a bigger opportunity since McCaffrey's gone.
Remember when Will told us not to pick him up?
Not to what?
Remember when Will told us not to pick him up and to pick up Hubbard?
Have you read the post? Have you read the entire post?
You text us immediate reaction. You said, I don't know about getting Foreman, and then Mike had to persuade you.
I picked up Foreman. There was a league that I did pick up Foreman. But no, the reaction per Instagram, since Manny doesn't like to read.
I'm saying for us.
Pretty much ended up talking about.
It's our thing.
It's for you too. It ended up saying, and I was actually going to bring that up as a point that it's okay to bring both, or it's okay to pick up both Hubbard and Foreman. But I'll say it again. The only problem that I have is the fact of how consistently can Carolina actually score. Like, you're not gonna like when you think of the top. When you think of top teams as far as like scoring high and things like that, the Panthers are not who you think of. I don't care if whether or not on this game against the Falcons, the winner gets the sole possession of first. But like we talked about on the chat and on the Instagram that like Foreman did play pretty decently last year, taking the place of Derrick Henry for a couple of games. He's a hardcore bruiser. So I always compare bruisers like those to like Frank Gore and things like that, because that's generally what he is. So like a Frank Gore, or talking about someone more recent, Nick Chubb. So those two have a similar game. They're not going to be pass catchers like Chuba Hubbard, who actually also had a good game, but did end up getting injured. But I'm hearing that it's a minor injury. So we still don't 100% know what the balance is going to be between the two. So I'm still saying be a little bit careful with those two.
Fun fact, Manny knows, and you know as well, I love college football.
Yes,
I'm a Buckeye fan, but I also like the Longhorns as well, because I was born in Texas.
Yes, you were.
Yeah, so I keep up with them. Yeah, I keep up with them. And that's okay too, because that's okay too. When they played Ohio State, I'm probably throwing horns down too, so it's okay. But Deonta Foreman, man, like, he ran for 2,000 yards his last year in college. Oh, that's my ESPN alert, my bad. But he ran for 2,000 yards. I don't know. I can't remember if it was all-purpose yards or just straight rushing yards, but he had 2,000 yards his last year in college. Like, he's really, really good. And I just feel like he hasn't had an opportunity to really shine. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what he can do in this limited opportunity that he has with Carolina.
I would be very impressed if it was 2,000. If it was 2,000 rushing, I would be very impressed. I'm actually looking at
it up.
Like, holy crap! Yeah, it was rushing.
Straight up rushing.
2,028 rushing yards.
I was surprised he wasn't up for the Heisman that year. I'm like, the dude ran for 2,000 yards, but I think they lost like so many games that year. He just wasn't really,
But yeah, and the point remains, like, as far as him not being an all-purpose back, as far as total scrimmage yards, was 2,103. So he didn't really do much in the passing game. But right. But damn, can the boy run? So like I said, it's not that I was against Deonta Foreman. It's just the fact of, like, if fantasy is more so about trying to get as much opportunity to get touchdowns with, like, the Panthers aren't exactly going to be the team that you think of when it comes to scoring touchdowns. So like I wouldn't be starting him every single like running back every single week. Like, he could be a flex play as long. I would say they would be a flex play as long as the matchup is right. So they have Atlanta this weekend, so we could see him being a pretty decent flex play this weekend. So is my point.
Can I say something that's really odd? It's nothing to do with fantasy football, but it's
what you do, Manny. Go ahead.
Like, Mike, this has been bugging me for a while, like the whole show. But Will's new setup, His head's covering the fan where it looks like his haircut's like Kodak Black, and it's been bugging the crap out of me this whole time. I've just been picturing Kodak Black when Will's. You see what I'm talking about?
I see it.
Like literally, if he had his head like perfect at one point, I was gonna screenshot it. It looked just like Kodak Black.
At this moment, if I can get Kodak Black's money, then I will be. Then I wouldn't care if I look like him right now.
You had your head perfect at one point, and I that was the whole thing I was just thinking about was Gremlin the whole time that Will's a gremlin.
You might have to make that meme. You might have to.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah.
Do a comparison. Okay, we'll do that. We'll.
Will's like, I hate you.
only on this show. So moving on. So we talked about that there was issues with Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady as far as quarterbacks, but there's another controversy. Well, let's not call it controversy. Let's call it controversy. There's another situation going on in the city of Boston, and the problem is I can't even remember the guy's first name. Zappy. We're just gonna go with Zappy. So Zappy versus Mac. So Zappy has been playing a little bit decent, and he's looking at, you know what. Like, is this a little bit better? So we're gonna do this.
Now that I told Mike is like
the problem with Zappy.
I can't unsee it. Once you see it, you can't unsee it.
Like, does it turn on? Okay, so does the actual fan go on? There, yeah. the fan's gonna go on. So you see, like I'm like glowing. Your boy's shining right now, but I'm shiny black, and I just have a little thing going on around behind me. So back to the controversy, not about everything that's going on with me, but
it's Bailey Zappy.
So it's Bailey. I was about to say Brian. Thank God. All right, so Bailey Zappy, he's been playing pretty decent for the past couple of games when Mac Jones was out for due to injury, and all of a sudden Zappy ends up losing one game. And then from there, this past week, Mac Jones started. He was back in the game. And then from out of nowhere, they took him out. They took Mac Jones out. They said, all right, we're going to put Bailey Zappy in, and we're going to see just generally what he can do. And I'll admit that Zappy did play a little bit decently for the past couple of weeks, leading them to a couple of wins that they probably never should have. And then they lost to the Bears. So the question becomes, we'll just keep it simple. Zappy or Mac? We're going to start with, we'll start with myself. I'm actually going to go, we're going to start with Kodak. So as far as what I believe, I'm actually going to go ahead and go with, You put too much stock into a certain player, like you kind of don't have a choice but to somewhat put him on and let him actually play. So in this case, I'm going with Mac Jones. The type of game that they play is a little bit different with Zappy around, but when it's all said and done, it's not the way that Belichick actually wants them to play in the end. So like it's one of those where it's like, all right, so you did your job. Thank you for your service. Thank you for being the backup. So now get in the back of the line. You're a 7th round pick. You're not supposed to be where you are right now, starting for the Patriots. But props to Zappy again. But this is Mac Jones's team, and there's no way I can back that up with with a multitude of stats or things like that. But I think the biggest bottom line is it's Mac. So, all right, Mandy, let's listen to what you have to say. Go ahead.
Zappy's a better quarterback than Mac Jones. He has been. He's always been. In college, you could tell he was a better quarterback. Mac Jones had Alabama. Zappy played for Western Kentucky, and he put up like 6,000 yards and almost 60-some touchdowns on his senior season. Just people didn't know him because he played for Western Kentucky. The only reason I know him is because he threw up like 500 yards and like 4 touchdowns against Michigan State when we played him. The dude's a beast. I think if you give him time to develop and actually give him the starting role, he'll actually produce better than Mac Jones.
I wouldn't mind seeing that.
The problem is he's been second string. He's not getting the practice routes with these starters, but then getting thrown in the games.
Do you believe?
Yeah.
Well, you already believe that Zappe is the better quarterback. Do you believe
they should just hand over the reins to Zappe? I think he's a better future type quarterback for them.
So you want to give? So pretty much you want to, if you were New England, you would just give up on Mac Jones entirely.
I don't think Mac Jones has ever been good in college. I don't think he was great either. He had Alabama. He had the best offense to throw to. He had a professional offensive team in college. I think if you put Bailey Zappi on Alabama and him in Western Kentucky, it'd be a lot worse.
Mac Jones system quarterback?
I think so.
Interesting. Mike, your thoughts?
Man,
I know Mike watches college, so he knows how good Zappe was in college.
Zappe was a beast in college. But also with that being said, Mac Jones probably processed information just as quickly as anyone I've ever seen in college. Like he's limited physically, but he seems to be able to, to process information quickly and to be able to get the ball out quickly. So I can kind of see the conundrum that, New England is in. But at the end of the day, I too kind of believe that because of what Mac Jones did last year, he should be allowed to go through this season and see, what happens. They're not a Super Bowl caliber team anyway. So the way I look at it is, me personally, Mac Jones did have a great year last year for a rookie.
Mm-hmm.
I would let him go back out there and see if he can sustain that excellence. Now, if he cannot, I would not hesitate to put Zappe in. I agree with Manny. I think Zappe might be the better long-term option, but for right now, I think Mac Jones has the right to at least go back and try to establish dominance and go back and get his job back. So I'd give him a chance to get his job back.
And if you have either one on your fantasy team, drop them and go pick up a streaming quarterback.
I wouldn't even want to pick. There's no good chain reaction to Jones or Zappe as far as who he would pass to and things like that. Can you guys even name like 3 wide receivers on the Patriots?
Jacoby Myers.
Uh-huh.
And Jacoby Myers.
Dylon. Exactly.
Listen to this. If I was in a predicament and needed a quarterback, I would drop Mac Jones and pick up Sam Ehlinger.
I just picked him up.
He has the rushing capability. I don't know. In college, I swear he was on fire running. Mike, you verified me, but I think he had a lot of rushing yards.
He did.
As a college.
Yeah, no, you're 100% correct. He did. I don't know. I was right on the I don't know how I pulled the 2,000 yards out of my head, but I'm gonna try to say that I think that Sam Ehlinger, there was a season where he had over 12 rushing touchdowns as a quarterback. One of those seasons. I think it might have been the year that they beat Georgia in the Sugar Bowl.
He's fact-checking you right now.
Yeah, let me know because I could be wrong.
I'm looking it up now. Hold on.
But yeah, I think with him having the rushing capability and Colts, that's a whole different dynamic team with Jonathan Taylor and Pittman.
I agree with you. And I honestly think Sam Ehlinger is like Jalen Hurts light. I feel like he can do a lot of the things Jalen Hurts does. So if you like Jalen Hurts and that kind of a player, then I think Sam Ehlinger. I'm not saying he's Jalen Hurts, but he's comparable.
Mm-hmm.
Sam Ehlinger, Texas, because of course Mike knows about him.
That's why I said he would know.
Rushing, I think looks like his last season he did 377 rushing yards, but in 2018, his sophomore year, 482 rushing yards, 16 touchdowns.
Yeah, 16.
Yeah.
16.
He was like their short yardage back. They would just give the ball to Sam Ellinger in the pistol or whatever and just let him run up the middle. So,
Yeah, he was like Lamar Jackson in college.
yeah.
Yeah, his longest rush was 18 yards, so that kind of makes sense that year.
Yeah.
But it looks like that he can rush a little bit. So,
for fantasy, you want him because the rushing yards are key.
Yeah, I'm a fan of him. Just because of that alone. I won't pick him up. I don't need him. But it's
I was gonna say he can't pick him up in his league because I have him. So you can't even. It's not even an option in his league. But in any other league, go for it.
So is he going to be there? He's going to be like, is it him moving forward or is it
the whole season, rest of the season? They said.
Yep.
Matt Ryan. Wow. Just Matt Ryan, Phillip Rivers, Carson Wentz. Just Andrew Luck. Oh, okay. Okay. Let's not talk about Andrew Luck.
Andrew Luck.
Okay. Who before him?
After Peyton Manning?
Before Peyton Manning.
I have no idea.
Well, technically after Peyton Manning, Jacoby Brissett, but we're not going to talk about him. And he was okay. I still like Jacoby Brissett. Doing okay in Cleveland. Shout out to him. So last subject as far as news and notes. This was the last second one because this just happened today. Jamar Chase is going to be out for at least 4 weeks.
Go trade for T. Higgins right now.
I was about to say, Manny, you were the one that talked about, or that pretty much jinxed Jamar Chase by saying that T. Higgins was actually going to do better than Jamar Chase.
Well, look at the target share right now. Fact check me. Well, who has more targets right now? Remember, I said they're pretty much
T. Higgins. There's no doubt about that. Likely T. Higgins.
So why would you pay the up premium of first round pick with Jamar Chase when you could get T. Higgins in like the third?
So here's the money last 2 weeks though.
He was. He played. I played against him.
Yeah, he went nuts last week. So here's my guy played against him last week because you had him. And Joe Burrow.
True. Yeah, got to stack that, man.
Here's my question. I'll give it to Manny since again, T. Higgins is his boy. He gave the curse to Jamar Chase. So here's the question. With him being a first round pick, is there, with him being out for at least a month, do you not exactly panic, but would you consider trading for someone that's kind of on the, let's say, not the high upside, but more of a safe floor person, like let's say, we talked about DJ Moore a little bit. So let's say like a DJ Moore or a Chris Olave. Would you trade for someone in that range?
You'd have to do a package deal to get, if I wanted to trade. Like if I was Mike and I had Jamar Chase and he wants, like, for example, I would rather have Chris Olave, but he would need another player. But Chris Olave, if you look at strength of schedule, like say, let me give a little example. Say Mike's undefeated and he's easily going to make the playoffs. Jamar Chase gets hurt. I would trade Jamar Chase. I would actually keep Jamar Chase and try to trade for Chris Olave, because Chris Olave's playoff schedule is super easy. If you want to pull that up and look at the teams that Chris Olave plays in the playoffs, and also Jamar Chase, who he plays in the playoffs as well, to have those two players on your team when playoff time comes around is going to be insane. And I guess with the reaction of Jamar Chase, I did say get T. Higgins, but a lot of people have Tyler Boyd on their waivers. I would go pick Tyler Boyd up as quick as possible. But yeah, look at the playoff weeks, which would be 15, 16, 17 for the Saints and the Bengals.
15, 16, 17. I'm not gonna look at whatchamacallit. Not gonna look at the Bengals. But give me a second. I'll pull up everything for the Saints.
I'll pull up the Bengals for you because I do want. This is like the time Like if you were about to make the playoffs or you want to make a run, look at strength of schedule in the playoffs and try to trade for these players that have easy schedules in the playoffs.
So Saints have a bye week at 14. 15 is Atlanta. 16 is Cleveland. And week 17, New Year's Day, is Philly.
See? Philly's not tough or not like the best at cover. I mean, yeah, Slay. And this is the Saints, right? You saying?
That's Saints, yeah.
And then if you go to, let me see the Bengals. All right, Bengals. And this is kind of a strategy that I do. I guess since we're doing football, it's kind of good to talk about. You have, what would it be? 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. You have Browns, Bucks. As you can see, Bucks isn't and Patriots.
See, the Patriots, they're not really that great against the pass. So I can kind of see both of them actually being like 50-50, but what I do believe is with Olave, you have an opportunity to try to get him not exactly low, but like I would kind of think that you probably have to jump a little high to get him in certain places. Like I did try to get Chris Olave in a trade or two, and no one's biting because it kind of seems like they know what the upside is to him, and the fact that Michael Thomas is not going to be 100% moving forward for the rest of the year, and Olave's like the lone guy, and it kind of sucks because a lot of people. Well, it sucks for me anyway, but the fact that a lot of people have Olave as their as their flex, and that's a damn good flex. Michael, what would you? I called you Michael. I don't know why I did. Mike, what would you do? And you are a Jamar Chase owner. What would be your next move as far as trying to replace the production, or do you even replace it at all?
Yeah, it's funny you guys are talking about these two players because in that league, I think do I have Olave in that league too? I think I might have Michael Thomas, but there are a lot of leagues that have Olave in as well. So I'll take the standpoint of me having Jamar Chase and not having Olave. So in that situation, like in your league, now that Jamar Chase is hurt, luckily, I've drafted, so I kind of have like an Isaiah McKenzie or like a Garrett Wilson who I can try to put in that position. But I'm definitely not going to trade him. I'm going to hold on to him just because of the potential and because I invested. I mean, he was my number one pick in that league. So I invested so much in him, I'm going to keep him. But I do like the idea of if you're able to going out and trying to get somebody like a Chris Olave, to kind of be a Band-Aid until Jamar Chase can eventually come back. Like I said, as far as I'm concerned, I'm just going to kind of stand pat, see what next week has to offer. Probably put someone like Isaiah McKenzie or Garrett Wilson in that position and hope that they ball out. But yeah, it's a tough position because he was just seeming to like kind of heat up, and now he's hurt. So it sucks.
I need to give you a shout out real quick because I'm looking at your team right now. Not only do you have Chris Olave,
yay,
but also you started Devin Duvernay.
I did, right?
You started him in your flex, got you 16 points with a rushing touchdown and a couple of catches. So shout out to you. So
yeah, UT again.
I would not have done that, but shout out.
No. You just did the rookie mistake though, and this is good to tell people.
I know what he's going to say.
You put a flex player on Thursday.
Yeah.
Do you know why you don't do that? You know why you don't do that.
I know why you don't do that, but I had to do it.
No,
but he did it anyway.
No, you put Duvernay in your wide receiver slot.
Right.
So then, like, if someone gets hurt, you could replace that flex position on
with a running back.
You locked up that flex position. So, say one of your wide receivers gets hurt, then you're kind of screwed.
That's, you know what? Honestly, like, I didn't think about that. Obviously, or else I probably wouldn't have put him there. That's great advice to give.
Yeah. So next time, put him in a wide receiver. If it's Thursday night matchup, put them in your running back or wide receiver slot just in case something happens on practice and when someone gets hurt, then you have that flex spot open so you can kind of play around with your bench.
I like that.
This is what you came here for. This is what people pay us to do. Y'all getting paid, right? Okay, so anyway.
Where's my money, man?
My money, man. But let's go ahead and go to the main subject. There really isn't. It could just be like one quick answer. I already know one answer on top of my head. But we are halfway through. Believe it or not, we're halfway through the fantasy football season, and we had a lot of ups and downs as far as like our teams in general, and generally want to know what is one surprise that shocked you as far as whether it be a player, whether it be a team, whether a player is doing good or bad or whatnot. I'll go ahead and start with mine. And we talked about this. I am surprised about how good Josh Jacobs actually is this year. I did not expect, in the sense, I guess I should have saw it coming. But with Josh Jacobs not getting his fifth-year option picked up before the season started, with multiple running backs getting picked up this year for the Raiders, and that also includes the draft picking up Zamir White. I honestly thought that Zamir White was going to eventually take the place of Josh Jacobs, and then from there, even to the point where Josh Jacobs could even be traded, if you want me to be honest. So that it's kind of why I stayed away from him. But and Josh Jacobs was never really the best receiving running back. So to see him actually get targets, to see him actually do be a 3-down back the way that he is right now, like whoever picked them up, and I believe he was actually a late rounder. So like not like 9 or 10, but like 5 or 6. So if anyone was able to pick him up in that area, you pretty much picked up a good winner in this case. I'm very curious to see whether or not if he continues to do it. If he does, then again, like it could be picks like those that pretty much could be a season winner for you guys. Let's go ahead and go with Manny. What's your surprise for this year?
So I'll do one fantasy and one like actual like visual of watching the games.
All right.
The damn NFC East is like the juggernaut division this year. For some reason, you got Giants that are 5-1 or 6. Was it 5-1? 6-1?
6-1.
6-1. You got Eagles undefeated. You got the Cowboys with 2 losses, and then I think Commanders are barely under 500, which is crazy because usually we're like the laughing division, like laughing stock division, where everyone is like under 500, and there's only one team that's barely over 500. So that was a big surprise for me. Looking at the schedule, though, when you have, if you know NFL, you kind of know like the scheduling that they do. If you took 4th place last year, then you play like the 4th teams from the other divisions, the NFC divisions.
Right.
Giants have gotten lucky with their schedule because the other ones are pretty pitiful, if you ask me. So they had an easy schedule so far. Yes, they did beat the Packers and the Ravens, so I got to give it up for them because those are games they would usually get blown out previously years. So that's a surprise. My fantasy surprise, and this is why I'm sucking in fantasy right now, is because usually you want to get running backs early because they get hurt, and the value of like the top running back to get like a Jonathan Taylor, Christian McCaffrey, or Derrick Henry is way more valuable to get them in the first round than getting a wide receiver. Well, this year it seems like if you got wide receivers early and got those back end like Breece Hall, well, he's hurt now, but like Breece Hall, Josh Jacobs, like these mid-tier running backs mixed in with like Justin Jefferson, Stephon Diggs, Jamar Chase, Cooper Kupp, these top tier wide receivers, they seem like those are the teams that are doing very well in fantasy. It's kind of backwards of what usually you see in a fantasy league. And now I'm like, I went running back heavy on all mine. So I'm pretty in rough shape. I should have switched my strategy at least in one draft, but oh well.
One of the leagues that I'm in, I kind of did that opposite that strategy of focusing more on wide outs versus running backs. And
what's your record?
On that one, 7-0.
Exactly.
And
it's like that strategy is winning.
Yeah, and that's actually that's the one that I did a solo YouTube video on, where I pretty much talked about everything. Yeah, it's an hour long and it's boring, but I at least talk about why I picked who I got. So
well,
like, and that includes,
who's your running backs? Who's your 2 starting running backs?
Okay, so my 2 right now, because of injury, in the second round I did get DeAndre Swift. My first round pick was Stephon Diggs. So just to give an outlier. But my two starting backs right now is Ramondre Stevenson and Dameon Pierce.
Yeah, 2 mid-tier. Well, Ramondre was like in the 10th round.
Did I get him 10th? I think I got him.
Like, he was like late.
I might have got him at 10. Yeah, you're right.
So another one, Kenneth Walker, was a late one, and look what he's been doing. Like all the ones that are like high up, like Najee Harris, you have Jonathan Taylor. These guys aren't producing, and you kind of wasted a pick. If you would have got like a wide receiver and then got one of these back ends, it seems like those running backs are producing a little bit more. So it seems like that strategy is winning so far. I'm actually in kind of a struggle right now because Mike Williams got hurt, and he was like my number. I was going running back heavy, so I would get, like, for example, I got Joe Mixon, DeAndre Swift, Mike Evans. Then I got Brandon Cooks. So look, now Brandon Cooks is my number 1, and I have no back. Like, it's rough. Like, I had Garrett Wilson and all this other stuff, like you were saying. But I'm like, man, if I would have – so now I'm trying to trade my running backs because – my other strategy is get a ton of running backs because they get hurt and then you could trade them. So listen to this trade. I traded this week Brian Robinson for Amari Cooper. I'm targeting Amari Cooper right now because of Deshaun Watson's return.
Really?
Yeah, he's supposed to come back after week 10 or 11.
Oh no, that I know. I'm actually more surprised that you got that
trade through.
That someone agreed to that. Yeah.
Yeah. So now my team is Lamar. This is another one where I went back-to-back running back. I got Barkley, Derrick Henry, which actually turned out – those 2 actually kind of turned out to be okay. I had Mike Williams. It's going to be Amari Cooper and Mike Evans. But I had no depth in wide receiver because I had Brian Robinson. I had James Robinson. I have Kareem Hunt. I have all the running backs that I was like, okay, this is a standard league. I'm grabbing all of them.
Would you want James Robinson right now?
That's a good question because I don't know how they're going to use him. Are they going to use him like a Breece Hall, or is he going to just be Michael Carter's backup?
Maybe not. I would say 50-50 for right now. Like that's the only thing you can think of right now because James Robinson, as good as he is, the Jets' offense is not an offense that you think of again when it comes to high scoring and things like that. We know how good the player is. Shout out to the Jets for actually getting to where they are right now. But as far as them consistently scoring like in like the 30s or like let's say 25 and above, like it's not something that I see with them. So like I picked up James Robinson in one league. So we'll just generally see. For now, he's on the bench, so we'll just see how he goes. Mike, your thoughts? What's a surprise for you this year so far?
Man, the biggest surprise, I'm going to keep it short and simple. The biggest surprise for me, man, is just the fact that A.J. Dillon and the Packers just are trash, bro. Like, I really invested a lot in A.J. Dillon. I felt like he's really going to have a breakout season. I love his running style. He's a bruiser, big dude, especially in Lambeau Field where you have those, conditions where it's going to be snowing and cold and you're going to need that bell cow running back. I thought he would be that guy, and he just hasn't seemed to be that guy. So Yeah, just AJ Dillon and the disappointment I have because, like I said, I own him in probably about 3 leagues that I play in, and it's just hasn't been good. So he's my biggest disappointment so far because I really thought that AJ Green was, I mean, not AJ Green, excuse me, AJ Dillon. I know him too, right? Him too. But I really thought AJ Dillon was going to do his thing, and he hasn't.
So do you believe that? Okay, so if the Packers continue to be trash, do you think in time for the playoffs that AJ Dillon will be more of a bell cow back if they possibly shut down Aaron Jones, Aaron Rodgers, and everybody else? Would he be a guy that will get more touches and things like that around week, like if they're out of playoff contention? Can you see that happening?
No, he should have been getting touches week 1. He's like we said before. He said he was going to play the top 11. He's one of the top 11 players in that team. Put Aaron Jones as you could at least put Aaron Jones. He could catch. Put him running slot sometimes and put AJ Dillon in, or vice versa. AJ Dillon can catch as well. What's the formation where it's quarterback, 2 running backs? Do that formation.
Mm-hmm. I just don't know what they're doing, and I don't know if it's a Matt LaFleur thing, or I don't know if they're trying to. Maybe they want to give us false information, trying to trick people. I don't know. I don't know the underlying situation. But I just know that he isn't being utilized like he should be, and it sucks if you own him because I mean he's pretty much worthless at this point.
I have AJ Dillon in all my leagues, all of them.
Okay, wow.
Now that's another reason why my record is my record. I have 4 leagues. I have AJ Dillon in all my leagues.
Right.
Are you starting him in all 4?
Not anymore.
Yeah, not anymore. Probably not. Not at this point. Yeah, it's.
So I think the moral of Mike's story is Green Bay get a wide receiver. Odell Beckham should be available.
Odell ain't going there.
Go get him. Yeah.
Odell's going to someone that's winning.
Back to the Rams.
I said someone that's winning.
I wouldn't be surprised to see Odell go back to maybe the New York. I mean, it's a city that I think he loved. I think he loved being in New York City. It just kind of got stale there. So
I don't know
if they could swing something.
He would look good in blue and silver.
I would love to have Odell Beckham, but the thing about it is I don't feel like he wants to be a Cowboy for whatever reason. Maybe it's just the animosity from just being a Giant and dealing with that. I think he'd love it if he came. I think deep down inside he doesn't know that he would probably. I mean, because a bigger stage is there than Dallas. But I mean, I don't know if he wants to come. But I hope so. I'd love to have him.
The fit would be right, but would Odell be the number 1 or the number 2?
I think 1A, 1B.
Yeah, because CD's also kind of a midseason disappointment for me personally because I felt like he'd be like on a Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson level, and he's. But
I'll give you guys the credit, or I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. In that case, it's not 100% CeeDee Lamb's fault.
Well, not having Dak, right?
Right, for not having Dak.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I mean, God, what was that superhero quarterback you guys just had? Right, Cooper Rush. Yeah, so Cooper Rush. I mean, he still did actually give targets to CeeDee Lamb. So it wasn't the fact that he was. I think it's something that we talked about when we knew that Cooper Rush was going to be the quarterback. Like, he's more of a time manager. He's not going to be a guy. He's not going to be a Josh Allen. He's not going to be a Tom Brady. He's more of a Jimmy Garoppolo, where he's going to pretty much limit the amount of plays that you guys do, and from there he'll get you to where you want to be, but he's not going to be a stat monster. So that's kind of how I feel overall. So that with that back now, like, it's more you guys are more unpredictable, which is a good thing as far as what you guys are going to do as far as plays and such. So no negativity, no hate there. So that being said, anyone want to say one more thing before we're out of here?
Luka Doncic is really good at basketball. I'll say that. Mm-hmm. Has nothing to do with what we're talking about, but that's my thing I wanted to say before we get out of here. like really, really good at basketball.
I'm still gonna stick to what I said about Luka. Not saying that it's a bad thing. I'm just saying I'm still sticking to what I said about him. And I told Manny before that I feel that if the rings don't happen, I can see Luka Doncic. I can see Luka pretty much going to the path of Russell Westbrook, where he gets hear me out, where he's a triple double monster, which there's nothing wrong with. And I'm not even saying that he's a crap player, but what I'm saying is as long as he's not able to get close to a championship, like what would be the point of the stats?
The ring will come. We were in the Western Conference Finals last year. Mark Cuban is going to do whatever he can possibly do to keep Luka happy. He's one of the best owners in the NBA, so the rings will come. But
superstars are going to want to play with him.
Yeah, I mean, watch what he does. Christian Wood's going to be a free agent this year. We're probably going to lose him because he's going to put up crazy numbers playing with Luka, and he'll probably go somewhere else and sign a big dollar contract.
That's okay.
So Luka I'm okay with it. So Luka makes players better, and I think they'll see how much fun it is to play with them. And like I said, it's coming. It's the rings are coming. But if they don't, I can understand where you're coming from. I can see how you could feel that way. But he's way better than Russell Westbrook.
Again, not trying to crap on him, and I'm not saying that he is.
Aren't you a Lakers fan?
Yes, I am. 0-4, baby. Let's go.
He owned it. He owned it, though.
What can I do? You know? But you know what?
Hey, fellow listeners, this guy loves the Bay Area and 49ers, but roots for the Lakers and with the Warriors being as good as they are.
Might be time to make that move, man. Go up. Take that I-10, the 10 or the 5, whichever one it is. Take that up north, man.
It would be the 5. But look, take that up north. But look, I would only don it because of I think I told you guys about it because my nephew is a Warriors fan. So
I will call you a bandwagon fan, though. No, you could do it, but I will call you every day a bandwagon fan that you're a Warriors fan, that you jumped ship.
Well, I'm not a person that's going to be like that, so there you go.
There's a Lakers ship right here. There's a Lakers ship. You're on it. You jump. Warrior ship. You take that on.
And then when they suck, you could jump on the Luka bandwagon with me and Mike.
Luka.
We'll catch you. You'll jump and we'll
that's
catch
definitely
you.
Never gonna happen. I will admit when players are good, where teams are good, but as far as me jumping from one to another, never gonna happen. I stick to my roots.
And if you're listening, you probably don't know Will when he lived in Chicago, but the guy was dressed up in all Bills. Benny the Bull, he was like everything. He was all decked out in Bulls, Bears, White Sox, and now look at him.
First of all, it would have been Cubs, not White Sox. That's number one. Number two, I did dress up once fully in Chicago Bulls gear because I went to a game. And the jersey, of course, was Jordan.
Yeah, I actually have a Scottie Pippen jersey, so I can't really hate on that. The era that we grew up in, the Bulls were
even us living in the West Coast, we still gave love to the Jordan Bulls. Always beating the Knicks on Sunday on NBC. Kids, Google that. But yeah, so that's it for our NBA take. That's it for our NBA podcast there. So tune into next week. So for the Nxt Step Fantasy Show, for Mike, what up?
What's going on? Good seeing you guys. It was a good show. Let's do it again next week.
We'll see. For Manny,
what's up? And please get a different background so I get distracted easily. And all I could picture, like I said, was Kodak Black the whole show. And then Super Gremlin got in my head. While you're talking, I'm thinking about Super Gremlin. And maybe you like it because Debo and all of them come out to it all the time when they come out of their tunnel.
It's a theme show. So there you go. That's why I did it.
Yeah, that shit.
We'll go with that. Head spin.
Now it's spinning like when you start spinning it. You know the little hats where you spin the thing the kids wear?
Taking it
all color. That's what I thought after he did that. Look, it looks like the thing where you spin it. They went from Kodak to
this is motorized. This. So for the remainder of the end for the Nxt Up Fantasy Show, I'm Kodak Black. Have a good night. Have a good morning. Have a good afternoon. Whenever you guys are watching / listening to this. See you next week.
Peace.
Deuces.
Peace, deuces.